is open and stowed, Alex.
Copy, hatch open and stowed. Very good. That brings us into the post-depress part of the cue card. Let me know once you're in a good config.
EV1's in a good config. These are the good config.
All right, and then next.
We're about 3 minutes away from reacquiring a downlink television signal from the International Space Station as it flies 260 miles over eastern China, about to begin a northwest to southeastern pass that will carry it across the Japanese island chain.
Power to band.
Very good. Check that your display switch is functional.
EV1's functional. 2's functional.
Airlock Houston on
UIA.
Airlock Houston on Space Ground 1 for Alex. We just want to confirm step 17 that the emergency MPEV is closed.
Step 17 is confirmed. MPEV is closed.
Thank you, sir.
On the UIA, but you're going to switch power EV1 and 2 to OFF and check that the LEDs are out.
Power EV1 and 2 are off, LEDs are off.
Copy.
This is Mission Control Houston. Reed Wiseman and Butch Wilmore have now placed their extravehicular mobility units on internal battery power. The official start of today's spacewalk, 7:16 a.m. Central Time, just a few minutes ahead of schedule. The crew operating extremely efficiently throughout the course of all of their preparations. Again, the official start time of today's spacewalk, 7:16 a.m. Central Time.
Okay, 1's off, stowed, and my DCM cover is confirmed to be on. 2's the same.
Okay, Butch, that's a confirmation that your DCM cover is closed, I take it?
Affirmative.
Very good, and you have stowed the SCU in the pouch?
That's affirmative.
Very good. Please check, Butch, that the depress pump manual ISO valve is closed.
Depress pump man ISO is closed.
Reed Wiseman will be first out of the crew lock of the Quest airlock. He'll set up tethers and position himself for the departure of Butch Wilmore out of the airlock. The two crew members then will make sure that they have all of their tools associated with the first and most important task of today's spacewalk, that being the replacement of the failed sequential shunt unit, the voltage regulator that suffered an internal short back on May 8th, taking down one of the 8 power channels on the International Space Station.
Your water switches to on.
EV1 water switch on. 2 water switch on.
Check if your DCM is blank and the fight light is OFF.
EV1 blanking off. 2 blanking off.
With that, you have a go to set your temp control valve to your liking between 3 and max cold.
Okay, EV1's at about 5. 2's about 6.
And forward those numbers to Houston. And before the next step, which will bring you guys into the able hands of MCC Houston, I would like to wish you guys a fly Navy and especially a fly safe out there.
Thanks, Alex. That's great. Thank you, Alex. Great job.
And airlock.
Fun. Don't forget that.
Airlock Houston on Space to Ground 1 for Alex in step 11. We just need suit gauge pressure.
Copy that. We'll record that. You heard that, guys. I need a suit pressure from you.
EV1 4.3. 2 is 4.3.
Copy 4.3 for both, and with that, I'll hand you over to MCC Houston.
All right, good morning, Rick. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I have you loud and clear. How me?
I got the same. 2 has you loud and clear.
All right, we're going to be heading
Here in the front of the mission control room at the Johnson Space Center, you can see one of the clocks on the forward board that shows the EVA PET, or phased elapsed time, the elapsed time since the crew placed their suits on internal battery power to begin the spacewalk. And then just underneath, you see the entry eclipse plus 2 minutes, and the countdown clock ticking backward an hour and 26 minutes from now. That marks the point at which the sequential shunt unit task will begin. Basically, the point at which the International Space Station will have flown into an orbital sunset into darkness, plus 2 minutes, ensuring that the 3A solar array that the sequential shunt unit to be replaced is associated with has completely discharged its electrical potential, ensuring the safety of the crew, Wilmore and Wiseman, while they swap out that box by removing one bolt holding the failed SSU in place and replacing it with a spare unit.
to the forward external D-ring, and give me the checks for the gate and hooks when you get there.
Copy that. That's the word. Okay, Ricky, my blank hook is on the forward airlock tether point.
Meanwhile, shift handover now complete here in the flight control room. Flight Director David Korth, who is the lead flight director for today's spacewalk, that you see standing in the white shirt, working with his 2 Capcoms, Doug Wheelock in the blue shirt, and Ricky Arnold to Wheelock's right, veteran astronaut who will be talking directly to Wiseman and Wilmore as they execute their spacewalk activities.
Sounds good, Reed. With that, you can go ahead and attach Butch's blank hook to the aft external D-ring.
Okay, that's going to work.
And just for an FYI, you're coming down South Pacific Ocean, just passing. You just passed over Japan a little while ago.
I saw the squid boats out there. Okay, Butch, I'm looking at you. Your blank hook is on the aft tether point. Outstanding. It is bail closed. It is black on black. Going to an unlocked Irkham. That unlocked Irkham has the white hook, bail closed, black on black. Going to an unlocked Irkham that has the green hook, unlocked, and then you got to watch the rest of that back to you. I see it, and I see my red white is black on black, bail down. And again, my waist tether on the right side, bail down, black on black. Looks good. All right. I'm going to keep on moving out here. Just give me a minute to make sure tethers all look good. Absolutely.
Yeah, sounds good, Reed. When you're ready, you can give him a go to release his waist tether and egress.
Slow and steady for Butch Wilmore as he gets his first taste of spacewalking environment in the void of space. Wiseman already outside of the Quest airlock. He'll be giving Wilmore the green light to join him outside. Once outside, they'll be taking an assessment of their tools and their crew lock bags, in which a number of items are housed, including the spare sequential shunt unit.
All right, Butch, if that's the way you want to play it, let's play it. Yeah, we definitely need to hand it out like we talked about. Okay. I am ready. Yeah, I see it coming down now. Can you give it a little turn to present the handle to me so I can get a red on it? How about that? That's perfect. Give me just a minute. Okay, I've got my red on it, and I can probably, I'm going to release this airlock red if you'll restage it. I'm ready. Okay, There that comes. I see it and I have it. All right, I got a good handle on the handle. Let me see if I can just slowly bring this guy out.
Okay, Ricky, I've got that ready to the airlock D-ring extender.
Awesome. Thanks, Butch. And so whenever Reed's ready for you, we're ready for you to come out of the airlock when Reed is.
Come on out, Butch. Come out. I missed that moon that we had last time, Ricky. There's no moon here. All right, Butch, just go slow.
I'm taking it slow.
All right, straight up and down. Keep coming out. Good. All right, nice.
All right, I got to look down.
Yeah, I like your positioning. Looks good. Next step's going to be to get this SSU on your BR.
Concur, stand by.
No problem. Take your time. And I'm trying to present you that handle.
I see it.
Let me know when you got a red on it, and I'll release mine.
Stand by. Okay, I have a red on the SSU box itself.
Okay, you're red at the SSU box. Give me just a second to release my red. Okay, my red is off of it. And I'll just keep holding it lightly until you got it on your BRT.
All sounds good to us,
Okay,
guys.
I got it on the BRT. Both paddles are out.
Okay, I'm letting go, Butch.
Let go.
Copy that. And Butch, you have that on your BRT, Rhett?
That's affirmative.
Outstanding. And Butch, welcome to EVA.
Oh, hey, that's Ricky. Good place to be.
I'll just wait till that sun comes up.
Yeah, it only gets better. Guys, we want to verify your configuration. Do you want to just read them to us, or you want me to go through and grab the checks from each of you?
Ricky Arnold, the Spacewalk Capcom, talking to Butch Wilmore, congratulating him on the start of the first spacewalk of his career.
Checks as you read them up.
Wilmore scheduled to conduct 2 additional spacewalks in the month of January with Expedition 42 crew member Terry Virts, who is scheduled to launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan at the end of November.
You've got 3 good lights.
Mini workstation tabs up.
I see one tab, and Butch, if you can roll and show me your left side other way. You can go the other way, that'd be super.
Yeah. I gotta move the SSU before I do that.
Actually, maybe just pull your camera.
We should be receiving helmet camera television from the 2 spacewalkers shortly. Reed Wiseman's helmet camera will be designated by the translucent number 17 in the lower right-hand corner of your screen once we activate that. Butch Wilmore's helmet camera will be designated 18 today.
Yeah, we would like you to go ahead and do that, Reed.
All right, Butch, if you can roll this left side towards me just a little bit. Okay, you're all the way down on that isolation valve.
Thanks, Donald.
You're both handles down.
Good deal. And just a final check, the safety tether hook's closed and locked.
And I see closed and locked on the tether points. I see a white hook closed and locked, and that goes up to a red hook, which is closed and locked, Ricky. Looking good.
Looking good.
Thanks, guys. Butch, you ready to take a look at Tano here?
I'm ready. I do not see a green light on his WDS. Huh.
We'll need him to turn it on if we can.
Can you let me know when I'm on that button?
Up higher and to your right. There, right there. Push.
There we go.
There you go, and I got a good green light.
Great teamwork.
1, 2, 3 tabs up. I see 1, 2 safer handles down in the stove position. I see bell down black on your extender for your waist tether. And I see bell down black on your extender for your safety tether. I see one safety tether is unlocked, and I cannot see the other. You can get it right in front of you there.
And okay, so how are Tonto's helmet lights looking?
I'm sorry, his lights are good. He's got 3 lights on.
Outstanding, guys. I have one final question for you. Could you please give us your TCV settings?
All right, Butch, I will need you to move your camera again for that, or just give me a counterclockwise roll.
I can give it to you. I'm at 6.
Okay, you're at 6. And I am also at 6.
Copy all. Thanks, guys. And glove and hat baseline.
Okay, gloves. Baseline looks good for 1, and a hat is nice, firm, dry hat.
Yeah, pristine gloves for 2 and a dry hat.
Copy that. With that, we'll go to close the hatch thermal cover, and Butch, you can work on moving yourself around and getting used to having that SSU tied to your back.
Sounds good, Ricky.
The HAP referred to by Spacewalk Capcom Ricky Arnold and the crew is the helmet absorption pad that is now worn by crew members conducting spacewalks for each and every spacewalk. One of the additional safety measures in the wake of the water intrusion into Luca Parmitano's helmet during a July 2013 spacewalk, in which his helmet filled with water, temporarily halting spacewalks while new procedures and safety measures were incorporated for spacewalks that are currently being conducted. Once Wilmore has a few minutes to orient himself to the vacuum of space, he and Wiseman will begin to make their way along the truss of the International Space Station to the far starboard end of the truss and the work site that they will be conducting the highest priority task of today's spacewalk, that being the replacement of the failed sequential shunt unit that experienced an internal short back on May 8th, taking down the 3A power channel for one of the 8 solar arrays on the International Space Station.
Hi, buddy.
Again, once that occurred back on May 8th, the power distribution from the 3A solar array was automatically transferred to the 3B power channel, and as a result, no impact to station operations has been experienced since May, but the replacement of that failed voltage regulator box today by Wiseman and Wilmore will restore the station to full electrical capability.
Slow it down just a little bit.
Just a little slower.
If you reach up with your right hand higher, you can get up to the feeder rail.
Going for it.
Yeah, go off that whiff.
Yeah, I see your safety tether.
Yep, okay, good. keep taking it nice and slow. You're on the rail. You're slow down for just a second. Yeah. The SSU is going to get in the way of ESP2. If you can just...
I'm going to turn to the right.
Okay, and now give me a second. Let me get out of your way a little bit.
Okay.
All right, Butch, give me just another minute.
No problem.
And the first view from the helmet camera of Reed Wiseman as he begins to make his way slowly but surely to the far end of the starboard truss of the International Space Station, followed in tow by Barry Wilmore as they will then set up shop along the interface between the S4 and S5 truss segments to stand by for the station moving back into a eclipse or darkness about 1 hour and 10 minutes from now. That will be the demarcation point for the start of the work to remove the failed sequential shunt unit and to replace it with a spare.
And then take your left hand to the left. There you go, right there. And that'll bring you up to the starboard seat cart is right where you're going to end up there.
Yep, here you go.
We got this a tiny feather snag here. I'm trying to free it. So I need you. Yeah, right there. Can you get that off? That's perfect. Thank you. Good call. Okay, Ricky, Butch is on base 1, and he is heading outward of the starboard seat cart, and I am heading onto the starboard seat cart to go to the APFR.
Good job. Yeah, Butch, you're heading out to S1, S3 interface. I will give you a handrail when you get close. And Tonto, that's right. You're going to head up to the WIF 4 to put your crew lock bag on the APFR, and I have settings for the APFR when you're ready.
Okay, I'll take those in a couple minutes.
Head out, Rick.
No rush.
Taking my time.
We have good WVS of both of you guys now. Looking good.
Super.
Okay, Ricky, I think I'm ready for a pitch clocking.
Okay, copy. So it looks like you got the crew lock bag on there. It's going to be Oscar, Oscar, Lima, 9.
Okay, I do not have the crew lock bag on there yet. I was going to work the pitch of Oscar, Oscar, and then I'll get the crew lock bag in work.
Okay, copy.
Ricky Arnold, who conducted a pair of spacewalks with Steve Swanson and Joe Acaba during the STS-119 mission in March of 2009. You see him next to Doug Wheelock, who's in the blue shirt, Arnold just to his right, who is talking directly to the spacewalkers, choreographing each step of today's excursion. This helmet camera view now courtesy of Butch Wilmore as he makes his way down the starboard truss of the station to the work site to begin setting up the tools and equipment that he and Reed Wiseman will use in the removal of and replacement of the failed sequential shunt unit.
Hey, Ricky, am I at my drop point for my green?
Okay, copy that. You're looking for handrail 3011, and that's just going to be below you. There's two handrails there, and yours is the outboard one that's pointing straight zenith nadir.
What's the mile marker on base one?
The sequential shunt unit that will be replaced experienced a failure back on May 8th, an internal short that took down that unit. The sequential shunt unit, both on the starboard and the port trusses of the station, works to regulate voltage that is generated from the huge solar arrays on both sides of the International Space Station. Essentially, the SSU acts as a traffic cop to route the amount of electrical power output. If that power exceeds the current power demand of station systems and batteries, then the sequential shunt unit will shunt or defer any further electricity from entering the electrical power system. And conversely, when more power is required by the station systems, it will unshunt or open up the strings of the solar arrays to allow additional electrical power to flow through the electrical power system to the internal systems of the International Space Station.
And it'll be a little closer to 5760, and it'll be just nadir. And again, two handrails, and yours is the outboard one, Butch, that's kind of pointing straight zenith nadir.
Okay, Rick, for the APFR, the crew lock bag is loosely on there. I'm going to leave my BRT right on the crew lock bag. I got two adjustables onto the APFR, so I should be good to remove the APFR and put it on my BRT.
We'll go for that.
The two spacewalkers making their way to the far side of the starboard truss of the station. They'll set up shop on the S5 truss, where they will affix their crew lock bags, one of which houses the replacement sequential shunt unit, as you can see in this animation. We'll be passing into an orbital sunrise about 4 minutes from now, which will help considerably with the visibility from our views from the helmet cameras of both Wiseman and Wilmore.
Yeah, Butch, it looks like 3011, and you're going to drop your green hook there.
Copy, Ricky.
Okay, Ricky, APFR is on my BRT, and I'm going to start heading outbound.
Okay, copy that. You're going to head to the S1, S3 interface. Butch is still there, and you're going to look. Where you find his green hook attached, there's a handrail just nadir, an inboard of his, where you're going to drop yours, and I'll have a number when you get there.
Copy that.
Okay, Ricky, my green's on 3011. It's spelled down black on black. The yellow-white that is to that Urkham is spelled down black on black as well.
That's a good config, Butch. And while I have you there, since we're going to be heading outboard to the Sarge, we got to make sure before you guys head out there that your gauntlets are in place. You want to avoid inadvertent contact with the SSU, the ECU, and all the beta gimbal platform, all of that stuff. And just be careful of sharp edges, particularly for both of you on the SSU face near the labels. Butch, there's a bunch of suspected handrails where you're going to be, including 2101, and I'll give you a call when you get there, and we'll talk about whether or not you want to put the handrail clamp on there first.
Copy that, Ricky. Thank you. And one thing, that 85-footer is unlocked.
Okay, copy that. And Butch, are you gonna? Looks like you're gonna go ahead and head out to S5.
I can wait if you want, but we talked about I'd go ahead and go and get set up if you agreed.
Yeah, sounds good, Dust.
Just wait here.
No, sounds good, Dust. Just take your time, and you guys are doing great. And you're just going to translate past the Sarge, and then you're going to go nadir and aft along the inboard edge of the IEA, and I'll have further directions for you. But basically, you're going to head to the aft side, and you're going to be looking for the SSU in your work spot.
Copy that.
The careful choreography of this spacewalk, again, is designed to time out so that Wiseman and Wilmore begin the removal of the sequential shunt unit in darkness 1 hour from now. That will be when the station passes into an orbital sunset plus 2 minutes to enable the solar arrays on the starboard side of the International Space Station to have discharged their electrical potential properly. That sequential shunt unit is located at the base of the mast canister that acts as the platform upon which the starboard solar arrays of the International Space Station are housed.
This will make translating a little easier.
Okay, Ricky, I'm inside of 3217, which is, I think, the handrail that I want.
That is it. You're going to drop your green hook there.
That's going to work, buddy.
Two naval officers flying high over the South Pacific at an altitude of 260 statute miles. Now 33 minutes into today's spacewalk, the second in as many weeks for Reed Wiseman, the first of Butch Wilmore's career.
Now, Ricky.
Looking good, Butch.
Thanks. I see the SSU.
Okay, Ricky, green hook is down, and both reels are in unlocked.
Okay, copy. You heard the warnings already, so you're just going to translate, outboard to face 1. You're going to go past the Sarge, and just past the Sarge, you're going to drop down nadir and aft along the inboard edge. And remember, you're going to kind of go past and up and around the mast canister and join Butch there.
Sounds good. I got good gauntlets.
Thank you.
As they approach the work site on the S5 truss of the International Space Station, the crew will be mindful of staying clear of not only the mast canister that acts as the platform for the starboard solar arrays, but the associated integrated electronics assembly that is basically the brains of the solar array electrical output from the starboard arrays.
Tether, it disappeared. I've got a WS on it now, if you can see it. It was right here. Now it's gone.
Yeah, Swanee probably left a piece of gum out there last time he was there. Let us talk about that for a second, Butch.
Okay. Let me look on the other side and see if there's something I'm missing.
Thanks, Butch. And we just dropped KU, guys, for a few moments.
Okay.
Butch, we'll take your description, though, and then we'll decide whether or not we even want to drop a handrail clamp there or not.
Yeah, I don't even know where I put it now, Ricky. There's nothing there.
Great words, Butch. With that, you can go ahead. We're not going to use the handrail clamp there since you don't know where to put it, and it's good news. We're going to have you temp stow the SSU large ORU bag on handrail 2103, and we can go ahead, I guess, and put the handrail clamp back in that bag unless you have another option.
I will do that. We'll do that when Tonto arrives. Okay, I'm going to put the bag on 2103.
And if we're going to, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Hey, Butch, before you get too far along, since we're not going to need the handrail clamp there, what about just going ahead and stowing the SSU bag and getting ready, putting it on 2116, 2102, 2101, or the way you best see fit for removing the new SSU?
2103 is where I'm putting it now. Is that okay?
Yeah, we were thinking you'd go ahead and configure for the handoff since we have a few minutes and we're not going to be messing around with the handrail clamp.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good spot for a handoff.
Okay, copy that. You can use any of the handrails to get it in the right position, and so you can open and close the bag easily and it doesn't get in your way, and that sounds great to us.
All right, thanks, Ricky.
This conversation has to do with the proper placement of the crew lock bag that contains the spare sequential shunt unit that Wilmore will be handing off to Reed Wiseman a short time from now. The crew at the work site setting up all of their tools and equipment for the replacement of the failed sequential shunt unit. That work scheduled to begin at the point at which the station passes into an orbital sunset plus 2 minutes to allow for the discharge of electricity from the station's solar arrays, and the countdown clock here in the Mission Control Center flight control room counting toward that time 53 minutes from now.
Okay, copy that, Butch.
Okay, clocking of 4 is set, Ricky. We are black on black with a good pull twist.
Outstanding. It'll be Oscar Lima 9. We're about 20 seconds from a quick handover, and when you're ready, Tonto, you can go ahead and take your crew lock bag and put it on 2119. That's that Zenith Nader handrail that's kind of between the SSU and Butch.
Okay, copy that. Let me check it, Oscar Lima 9, and then I'll go do that.
Okay, Ricky, the SSU replacement is set up and ready for the handoff. It's still tied in the bag, but it's ready to go.
Good work, Butch, and we're back with you. Hey, Butch, why don't you go ahead and just take a couple seconds here while Reed's getting set up, and just make sure you can get yourself in a good position with your BRT to reach and hand off the new SSU, and that you're happy with the actual layout that you have set up.
You bet.
Guys, we're back with you at WVS. That big bright thing just came up over the horizon, so you're in daylight, which means we got about almost 50 minutes until eclipse. You guys are doing great. Take your time and just take your time and get set up for all the SSU tests that will happen in eclipse.
I think that's a great call, Ricky. The crew lock bag is partially on 2119, so I'm going to slow down a good bit here and just kind of get everything squared away.
Why don't we go ahead and hand off this handrail clamp there, Tonto?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Give me a couple minutes here.
You bet.
Good call, Butch. Whenever he's ready, we're ready.
Okay.
This is a perfect opportunity to build your nest.
We might even have enough time for a picture here soon.
Tried to take a few already.
Yeah, guys, we like the idea of getting some pictures. We'd like you to go ahead and get everything set up and then get some pictures of each other, and then any pictures you can grab of handrails and hardware out there would be much appreciated by the team on the ground.
You bet, Ricky. That's not a good. Well, somebody go ahead and install this square scoop on the SSU.
Good plan.
I'll look at the ATFR, and then we'll get the handrail clamp into this bag.
Sounds good.
Great plan, guys, and when you're looking at the SSU, we'd be happy to take a serial number from you as well, Reed.
Serial number 10.
You have a good memory.
No, I'm looking right at it. Serial number 10.
We check out a good BRT location for the handoff.
Could you also give us the status indicator?
The status indicator is in locked.
Okay, copy that. We see you got the scoop. You're working the scoop on there. Did you use the scoop with the BRT ready? Just have it ready and kept it on the integral ret in the bag?
The scoop right now is on an integral ret in the bag, and we will adjust that here momentarily.
Okay, copy that. And the scoop, you're going to have it pointing toward the scoop handrail pointing toward the tether point on the SSU.
That is the way it is.
Way ahead of us.
And Ricky, so you know, as we install the other SSU, I see a good spot where I can look at those pads to make sure they all engage or attach. I think I'll be able to get over there and see that pretty good.
Good call.
Okay, Butch, I think I'm in the ATFR now. I wouldn't mind a little visual assist on that. Look, to confirm.
You can lean forward. Both wheels look locked in.
Okay, great. Now, I would like a few moments here to think this through. You know, I might want to see, Butch, if this crew lock bag can reach up to that standoff by your left hand.
Yeah.
It would pull it out of the way of this SSU a lot better.
Okay.
So let's take a look at that real quick.
Yeah, guys, take your time. Make sure you're happy with the work site.
Below. Will that reach or not quite?
Yeah, it'll reach. I just got to loosen this a little bit.
All right.
Got it. You want to leave that long? You want to
Yeah, I like to pull it up a little and it'll suck it into the truss a bit. That'll probably be a lot better.
How about that?
Yeah, I think that'll be good. So now I'm going to remove the square scoop is locked on here, Ricky. I'm removing the crew lock bag ret from that.
Copy that.
You want to hand that to me for this?
I'm going to hand you the one that has the pit pin on it.
Okay.
And we can take care of that. And then I'm going to get my camera out and work some photos.
Yeah.
Okay, Butch.
Yeah, guys, we like the idea of putting the handrail clamp in the crew lock bag, and what we would like you to do is to go ahead and get torque broken before we get the camera out, if that's okay for you.
That is a great call, Ricky. Let's do that. Okay, so the handrail clamp is on the ret with a pit pin in the crew lock bag. And I am working on the ratchet wrench right now, Ricky.
Good deal. Thanks, guys. And I'll give you a caution here. We do not want to turn the bolt more than one turn when breaking torque during installations, which is now to make sure there's no arcing of the connectors. So less than one turn when you're breaking. We're looking for a quarter turn. It'll be about 36 foot-pounds, and just make sure the ratchet's set to counterclockwise.
Ratchet set to counterclockwise. Here we go. Might be slipping on there. Ricky, I think it turned. I think I broke torque, but it feels like it's slipping a little. That might just be the teeth of the anti-backlash, anti-backdrive.
Yeah, we're looking at it.
All right, I don't want to put any more turns on because I don't want to go over the one turn, Ricky.
Yeah, you read our mind. Are you feeling like it's turning?
Well, it feels like it's turning, but it's clicking as it's turning. And so, but it feels like the ratchet was definitely engaged on the bolt head. It doesn't feel like the ratchet was slipping off the bolt head. It almost feels like the ratchet wasn't fully disengaging the anti-rotation device in there. And that would probably cause the clicking. If you want, I can take the ratchet to the install direction and I can try to just turn it back a little bit and see if it still feels the same.
Thanks for offering that up. Just give us a second here to think about it, Reed.
Another option, Ricky, would be to put the ratchet back on and have Butch really well watch the socket as I turn and see if it turns, and I won't go more than like a tenth of a turn. But for now, I'm just going to wait.
Okay, thanks, Reed. Stand by one.
Move the camera down for a second, Butch. All right.
Hey, Reed, we're going to take you up on your offer and take the ratchet wrench and just take it back a little bit clockwise and see how it feels.
Okay, sounds good.
This is Mission Control Houston, 53 minutes into the spacewalk. Reed Wiseman and Butch Wilmore at the far end of the starboard truss of the station. A good view of the mast canister, the platform basically upon which the starboard solar arrays are mounted.
Clockwise direction, and I kind of feel that little bit of ratcheting.
But you definitely had it turning.
So it's definitely turning. Now, can I go back the other direction just a tenth of a turn?
That's affirmative.
Wiseman is working with a ratchet wrench to break the torque on the single bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place.
But the ratchet wrench is turning, so I'm definitely turning that bolt, but it feels like it's clicking as it's turning.
Okay, copy. Give us 1 second here.
Okay.
The reason for this work to break the torque on this bolt is essentially to get ahead of the game a bit for when Wiseman actually uses a pistol grip tool, a high-tech screwdriver basically, to unscrew the bolt that is holding the SSU in place once the International Space Station passes into an orbital sunset about 37 minutes from now.
Be hit right there. It's not too big, though.
Once Wiseman has completed braking torque on this bolt, Wiseman will prepare the spare sequential shunt unit for a handoff to Wiseman. The crew will be at a point then in their preparations for the replacement of this voltage regulator box, in which they'll have to hold in place and wait for the International Space Station to pass into an orbital sunset.
Guys, we're just having a conversation here about whether or not we're comfortable with the torque being broken right now, or if we want to proceed and try another attempt to break the torque using the torque multiplier while we have the sun out. So just give us a minute or two here, take some pictures, and we'll get back to you with words.
Sounds good, Ricky.
The International Space Station is currently flying over the South Atlantic, moving from southwest to northeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator, approaching the 1 hour mark into today's spacewalk that is scheduled to last 6.5 hours. The prime task underway to replace the failed sequential shunt unit on the starboard truss of the station that suffered an internal short back on May 8th, taking down the 3A power channel, one of 8 power channels available for electrical production from the solar arrays of the International Space Station. The replacement of this voltage box today will restore all 8 power channel capability, get that 3A power channel back up and running, even though its power loads were automatically transferred to the 3B power channel off that solar array within minutes of the failure of this sequential shunt unit back in May. While the spacewalk officers consult and determine whether or not enough force has been applied to break the torque on the one bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place at the base of the mast canister on the starboard truss of the station that you see on the left side of your screen. That canister essentially holds all of the integrated electronics and serves as the platform that holds the starboard solar arrays in their unfurled position for power generation off the starboard side of the International Space Station. The breaking of the torque on this bolt, a preparatory activity before Wiseman uses a pistol grip tool to back the bolt out of its place once we move into an orbital sunset. That activity scheduled about 32 minutes from now.
Hey, Reed, we have words for you when you're ready, and you'll need the ratchet in your hand again.
Okay, we are ready, Ricky.
Okay, what we would like you to do is to go ahead and try to tighten the bolt again, just like you did last time. make sure you're putting your palm and applying force down into the bolt by putting your palm on the head of the ratchet. And then when you have tightened it, we're going to have you again make sure you're putting palm force down into the SSU to make sure we're not slipping off of the bolt while we're breaking torque.
And I'm pushing against your back, Tonto. That helps.
All right, Ricky, I understand everything. I was doing all that, but I am definitely happy to try that all again. So I just put some really good torque into the bolt in the tightened direction, and it went about as far as it went last time. I can still feel when I'm tightening, I don't feel the ratcheting feeling when I'm tightening, but it does feel like it did last time, so there's no difference there. Okay, now I'm going to go to the loosened direction on the ratchet. Okay, Butch is putting some force into me. I got a lot of force down on the square torque multiplier, or the square scoop now, and I'm going to put in an impulse. And I feel the ratcheting, no doubt. And I'm not slipping off. So that was 1/4 of a turn. Let me just put another 1/4 of a turn in it. Okay, I think that's probably just frictional torque of that bolt on the threads. I don't think it's probably the anti-back drive. And I was able to turn it. I'm pretty certain, Ricky, that I just turned that bolt about a 1/2 of a turn. The ratchet definitely was not slipping off. The bolt definitely turned.
Reed, we appreciate your patience, and we concur. That looked good to us, and we really appreciate you taking some time during sunlight to make sure we got this right. So when we head into eclipse, we can take care of other items.
Okay. So for now, you want to just configure for darkness, I guess.
Stand by 1.
This is Mission Control Houston. The belief here is that Wiseman did, in fact, break the torque on this single bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place. This preparatory activity prior to the unloosening of the bolt itself to remove the failed voltage regulator box from its position on the starboard truss of the station. Once we move into an orbital sunset, that activity expected to occur within the 1/2 hour.
I think the only thing you'll need to do, Tono, is lean back, and I'll be able to hand it right into you.
Okay, one thing I want to check, Butch. I want to make sure this crew lock bag does not interfere with our install. I think right now it's going to.
Okay.
And so I can probably maybe move it back to the handrail. I just
release your end, and I can put it over here. Completely out of the way.
All right, let me hop out of the APFR real quick. Can you loosen that one?
Sure.
And it's still ratted up there, right? So that's
It's attached.
okay. There's the hook.
Let it go. Hey, how about that?
If you're happy, I am ecstatic.
I am very happy. Nice work.
Nothing like a 9-month break between the last APFR ingress and this one. Oh, you got to stay right where you are. Just stay right there. Don't move. No camera could ever do it justice, man.
I think you need to stay right there as well. Stand back. Lean back.
As he has almost from the moment he arrived on the International Space Station in late May, Reed Wiseman snapping happily away as he and Butch Wilmore are now 1 hour, 5 minutes into the spacewalk. Basically now setting up shop and biding their time until the station moves into an orbital sunset about 25 minutes or so from now. The start of the removal of the sequential shunt unit is timed for eclipse plus 2 minutes, basically orbital sunset plus 2 minutes, to ensure that all the electrical potential in the starboard solar arrays has been discharged properly.
I think it'll be good.
Okay, you'll present it to me?
I'll present it right straight down here just like you're there.
All right, now you may need to back up a little to look at the connectors on the end.
Yeah, I'll get out of the, after you have it, I'll release my BRT.
Okay, and then I will come bring it down here. And if you can help me with the alignment marks up there, especially. I've got a good view of the alignment mark down this outer side.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're looking pretty good.
Outstanding.
Hey, Ricky, I got one more piece of good news for you.
Go ahead.
I can definitely tell without a doubt the status indicator has slid a little bit off of lock with that turn we put in. So now I'm 100% confident that we were putting good torque into that bolt.
Great words. Thanks, Reed.
And with that, the stage definitely set for the removal of the sequential shunt unit that Butch Wilmore is currently handing off to Reed Wiseman from the crew lock bag that Wilmore transported with him on a body restraint tether from the Quest airlock out to the work site on the far starboard side of the truss of the International Space Station.
But our Soyuz looks great sitting there, Dr. Medine.
Isn't it beautiful? I actually took some pictures of you guys from there.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, guys, we got about 15 minutes before we want to make sure we're ready to start moving on this. This would be a great time to also get any images of handrails and any other hardware around that the ground team can later analyze and figure out what's going on MMOD-wise.
All right, Ricky, we'll put a few more of those in work. I think we've already gotten quite a few, but we will take as many as we can while we're out here.
Awesome.
Wiseman talking to Spacewalk Capcom Ricky Arnold here in Mission Control, commenting on the number of pictures being taken to document small micrometeoroid impacts on the starboard truss of the International Space Station. Fully expected after all of the years of service that structure has provided on the International Space Station. Nothing of any significant consequence, of course, but well documented. Next Wednesday, when Russian cosmonauts Max Sarayev and Alexander Samokhutyaev begin their spacewalk outside of the Pirs docking compartment in Russian Orlan spacesuits, one of the primary objectives of that 6-hour excursion will be a thorough photo documentation of the external surfaces on the Russian modules of the International Space Station.
Did you get some of that did you get some of the mass canister handrails?
I did.
All right, awesome.
The International Space Station flying 260 miles over Nigeria, soon to pass over the northern Sahara Desert.
We'll just talk this real quick. As I hand it to you, you can have a ret ready to put on the SSU ret location, and then you could release the one from the bag.
I'm just going to leave the one from the bag on there, do a full install with the one from the bag, and then we'll take that one that we install, we'll put it on this one and bring this one back to the bag.
Well, okay, we could do that. I was just thinking it's going to sweep across through your body, so.
Okay, if it's at all annoying, I got this one ready to go, and I took the tape off of it pre-flight so I can lock it out.
Okay, good deal.
Those are good words, Bush. That's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah.
assume that's you pushing on me?
Yeah. Thanks to Swanee for putting that extra red on the lid. That working well.
Good. That was a good idea, yeah.
Thanks, Swanee.
Short time from now, the two spacewalkers will provide flight controllers here in Houston an update on the status of their gloves and the helmet absorption pads in their helmets. The suits are functioning perfectly. No issues so far. The crew right on the timeline, 1 hour, 11 minutes into today's spacewalk.
Pretty cool looking straight down this array.
Array, yep.
The calm before the storm.
Here's one. Red bands of the dunes just sweeping across coming up here.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Man,
That's glorious, man.
you can just see what
Take
it
it.
has. It's
Oh, yeah.
just incredible. Go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah, guys, we're what our plan is to kind of get everything ready in Eclipse. I mean, in insulation, including getting all the little briefs I got to get out of the way. And one thing we can get out of the way right now is a glove, gauntlet, and hap check from you.
All right, from EV1, my gloves are no doubt except for a scuff on the index finger and thumb. But other than that, they look great, and I got a nice, firm, dry hat.
And two, gauntlets are covered, gloves are still pristine, and my hat is dry.
Copy all. Thanks, guys.
And the crew confirming what had been suspected, and that is that their gloves and their helmets and the helmet absorption pad inside the helmet all in good shape as the spacewalk proceeds. Now inside 19 minutes until the clock will begin on the removal of the failed sequential shunt unit, while in what is called Eclipse, to ensure that electrical potential has been properly discharged from the starboard solar arrays on the International Space Station.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and get my PGT out, count, and then we can do settings.
Okay, copy.
Need to lean to your left. There you go.
The electrical systems officer here in Mission Control, meanwhile, sending commands to place the proper inhibits into the electrical system of the International Space Station, essentially disabling electrical output from the arrays. All of this pre-timed to ensure that once we do move into a orbital sunset, the work can begin immediately to unscrew the single bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place, to quickly remove the box and replace it with the spare and bolt that one in its stead.
Right now, Bravo 1, counter 2.
Bravo 1, counter 2 set, and I'm stowing it.
Copy that.
Confirmation now that batteries 1 and 2 in the 3A solar array power channel have been turned off, part of the inhibits that we mentioned a moment ago, going through a step-by-step process to ensure that the electrical path is safe for the crew to remove the sequential shunt unit at the appropriate time, about 17 minutes from now. Once the spare sequential shunt unit is bolted into place and is properly hooked up, the crew will give mission control a go to begin the process of powering up that unit. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes for us to determine that the new sequential shunt unit is up and running to restore the station to a full 8 power channel capability.
Looks like you guys are coming up on the Mediterranean coastline. Looks amazing.
It sure does, yeah. It sure does. I think I see Crete. I definitely see Greece. Or my geography's all off, but you can tell me, Ricky. I don't know.
I was impressed.
The station is currently passing over the northern coast of Africa, over Libya. This pass from southwest to northeast will carry the station and its crew members and the 2 spacewalkers outside over the Mediterranean and over Turkey, just to the southeast of Istanbul and Ankara.
I see the Red Sea off on the forward side, although now it's the right side since we're flying a little crooked.
And just to give you guys a heads up, we're going to lose KU here in about 2 minutes for about 20 minutes. So any descriptive words would be helpful to us.
All right, that sounds good, Ricky. I see Cairo. Cairo. Can't quite make out the pyramids, though.
I got a couple warnings for you guys as well. The mass canister handles, the cables down below, the bright orange are not good for translation handholds. We will only do the SSU release when we give you a go for confirmation of the 2-minute wait from the start of eclipse. And during installation, you guys maintain that 1-foot keep-out zone from any exposed connectors. And I'll have a brief about releasing the bolts here in a second.
Copy all, Ricky.
As mentioned by Spacewalk Capcom Ricky Arnold, we are now passing out of range of our tracking and data relay satellite system for a KU band communications downlink of our television from the station. That will not be reacquired for about 20 minutes. So we will actually be in orbital sunset, having begun the sequential shunt unit replacement task without the benefit of downlink TV for the first few minutes of that work. 1 hour, 19 minutes into the spacewalk, everything proceeding swimmingly as Wiseman and Wilmore are at the ready, ready to remove the single bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place and placing in its in place at the base of the mast canister of the starboard truss of the International Space Station, holding the starboard arrays, the replacement sequential shunt unit. Again, this is a voltage regulation device that uses only the required strings of the solar cells on the solar arrays for electrical output to power the station's systems, and shunting all others, basically short-circuiting on purpose other additional strings to maintain 160 volts of electrical output.
No problem.
Okay, guys, we're about 9 minutes from eclipse. We'll have you get the BGT out here shortly, but basically what's going to happen, we're going to have you drive for 5 turns, no more. You're going to stop there. And in the event we lose comm, when you get to 2 hours PET per your DCM, that means insulation's on its way. And if you haven't heard back from us at that point, it's time for you to tie down the SSU at that 5 turns and go ahead and execute the cuff checklist for lost comm.
Okay, Ricky, right now I see our time EV is at 1 hour and 21 minutes, so if that hits 2 hours, and we haven't finished this out, we will leave it at the 5 turns. We will not turn any more, and we'll, I guess, pick it up from there in lost comm if we don't get comm back with you.
Yeah, make your best effort to tie it down and then pick up in the lost comm per the cuff checklist. Otherwise, that could read.
Okay. Yep, you cut out on that. So we will also make a best effort to tie it down. And just remind me again the tie down plan. If you don't mind, I'll just go to the handrail below and then come up to the square scoop and we'll tie it off like that.
To translate all of that discussion, Wiseman and Wilmore have a narrow 35-minute window between 8:46 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. Central Time, or up until the 2-hour mark into the spacewalk to accomplish the replacement of the sequential shunt unit. When they move back into what is called insulation or orbital sunrise, they would have to have tied down the SSU, the sequential shunt unit, if they have not completed its replacement, to ensure that they are not exposed to any electrical potential from the solar arrays on the International Space Station. They would then have to wait until the next pass into orbital sunset, which wouldn't occur until about 10:19 a.m. Central Time. The expectation is that the 35 minutes coming up in this upcoming orbital sunset pass will be enough to complete the replacement of this unit.
Ricky, just so you know, I reconfigured my BR down to the SSU tether point. I think it'll just be a little cleaner that way.
Thanks for the words.
This is Mission Control Houston. We're about 5 minutes away from passing into an orbital sunset. 2 minutes after that, the green light will be given by flight controllers here in Mission Control under the direction of lead flight director David Korth for today's spacewalk. He's in the white shirt, second from your right, joined on console on the far right of your screen by flight director Scott Stover, who was the flight director 8 days ago for the spacewalk executed by Wiseman and Alexander Gerst. The stage is set now for the removal of the failed sequential shunt unit. All of the inhibits are in place. The crew reporting that they're feeling great. Their spacesuits are in excellent shape as they prepare for a 35-minute sprint to replace the sequential shunt unit while the space station orbits in darkness.
Hey guys, we're about 5 minutes out from getting started. How copy?
Gotcha, 5 minutes out.
You copy. How about that?
Yeah, it's fine. Sorry.
And I know it's this one far side.
And you got all the straps off the SSU. It's ready to come out of that bag, right?
I've got one to go, and it's the one that's closest to me.
Perfect. And Butch, just put your eyes on the square torque multiplier and the ratchet wrench in that bag, just so you know where they are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Terminator.
Flying high over the border between Russia and Kazakhstan, the International Space Station is moving into an orbital sunset, and we're about a minute or so away from reaching the point at which the sequential shunt unit replacement work can begin. 1 hour, 30 minutes into the spacewalk, the crew right on the timeline.
How's it looking, Ricky?
Okay, Reed, we would like you to go ahead and verify your PGT settings, Bravo 1, counter 2. How copy, Reed?
I copy, Ricky. I'm getting it out now. I've got Bravo 1, counterclockwise 2 is set. The PGT is on.
Okay, stand by about 30 seconds.
Wiseman ready with his pistol grip tool, ready to receive final approval from Mission Control to begin the removal of the bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place on the starboard truss of the station.
Okay, Reed, you are go to release 5 turns only, then hold for us when you reach 5 turns.
Copy, driving.
So the SSU replacement work now underway.
Hey, Ricky, it looks like we're torquing out on the release. At least it's stopping the drive.
Checking.
Turning about a quarter turn and stopping.
Wiseman will now use what is called a torque amplifier to increase the torque on this bolt as he works to remove the single bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place at the bottom of the mast canister on the starboard truss of the International Space Station that serves as the housing and the platform along with the integrated electronics for the starboard solar arrays on the station.
Okay, Reed, we would like you to go ahead and take the PGT Bravo 1 clockwise 1 and drive the bolt for a max of 1 turn, and then we're going to reattempt at a higher torque.
Okay, Bravo 1, clockwise 1, and driving. The running torque, I would say, is chattery. It's like it's got some torque, and then it kind of gives just a tiny bit. So there's 1 turn at Bravo 1, clockwise 1.
Okay, Reed, thanks for the words. Now we'd like you to reconfigure Bravo 7, counter 2, and attempt 5 turns.
Okay, Bravo 7. We are Bravo 7, counter 2, and driving. Ricky, how copy?
Gotcha. We just had a handover, sir.
Unlock direction.
Okay, I had a red over red, low torque, and it torqued out on me on the counterclockwise. I got 2 turns in.
Got copy, 2 turns.
Bravo 7.
Checking.
The indicator moved. Did you notice that?
Say again? Yeah, the indicator's moving.
Yeah.
Reed, what we'd like you to try to do is Bravo 7, counter 2, attempt again. Just make sure you're putting good inward force on the bolt.
Driving. The PGT doesn't have enough power to turn it right now. I'm putting real good. I can feel it binding up.
Okay, copy that, Reed. Then we go ahead and stow your PGT. I have some settings for you quickly. Let's go ahead and leave it and stow it now, and go ahead and retrieve the ratchet, and we'll attempt to remove it with the ratchet for the rest of the release.
Okay, we copy that.
So the pistol grip tool has not accomplished the unbolting of the single bolt holding the failed sequential shunt unit in place. And now it's time for Wiseman to apply a little muscle with a ratchet wrench. About 5 turns should do the trick in loosening up this bolt and removing it so that the SSU can be removed from its slot at the bottom of the mast canister on the starboard truss of the station.
Indicator's moving.
3 turns only.
All right, that's good, Ricky. Indicator's in the middle. I think after this we should try the PGT again, but Butch will keep the ratchet up.
Okay, copy. That's a total of 5 turns. Stand by. Okay, Reed, that's good news. We would like you to go ahead and proceed with the release at Bravo 7.
The ratchet wrench has obviously helped, and now back to the pistol grip tool.
And Bravo 7, counter 2.
Good read.
Driving.
I see it coming out.
Very high running torque. Very high. Okay, I think it's out.
Can you give us the status indicator?
Status indicator's at about the middle position.
Okay, Reed, you want to configure your PGT for the install. You can put an alpha 4 clockwise 2, and then stow your PGT.
All right, I'll tell you what, my PGT's stowed. Let's do that setup later, Ricky.
Sounds good, because we might have to change the numbers for you anyway. With that, if you got your PGT stowed and you're wedded to the failed SSU, go to remove the failed SSU, stow it on your BRT, and you can unlock the red as required.
So the bolt is unlocked. Next step for Wiseman is to slowly move the failed sequential shunt unit out of its slot and to temporarily stow it on a tether that he has affixed to his spacesuit.
Other off-nominal conditions. We do not have WVS yet. We'll be coming up with it here shortly, so any words you have for us would be useful.
4 good connectors, absolutely nothing out of the ordinary at all, Ricky.
Great news. With that, we will need Butch to retrieve and have the spare SSU and get ready to transfer it to you.
I'm ready. Butch is ready.
So Wiseman has removed the failed SSU from its slot. He performed a quick inspection, no foreign object debris, no charring, no other unusual indications, and so it now will be stowed on a rigid tether that he has on his body as he accepts the spare sequential shunt unit from Butch Wilmore.
Can you bring it to your down just a little? The line pin is straight. All pins and connectors look pristine.
All right, that's great news.
Good news, we have good WVS.
Back with downlink television as the International Space Station flies over Osaka, Japan. Everything proceeding well as the spare sequential shunt unit is now being handed off to Reed Wiseman for installation at the base of the mast canister.
And Reed, you're going to check the orientation to the mast canister, the tether point inboard, install direction label, and then lock the red to relieve side loads as required.
After that, Butch, if you can GCA me a little bit, I'm having a little trouble finding the guides.
Hang on a second, I'm trying to get there. Hold it right there. Up with your my side and to me just a little. The right guide is in. The right guide, my side guide is in. Okay, you're in.
All right, now can you keep a hand on it?
I got a hand on it. Got it.
Hey guys, can I get you good work? Can I get you to stand by one, please?
Can you grab it again? Can you reposition?
Okay, I got it.
You got it.
All right, we are standing by, Ricky.
On just a second. Okay, I got it.
All right, Reed, let me give you some settings here, then I have a quick brief for you guys. It's Alpha 4, clockwise 2. And when you begin to drive, you're going to tell Butch you're starting. You need to push on that bolt to engage the bolt. Butch, you're going to have a nice orthogonal view. And what we'll need to hear, and Reed will need to hear, is that the gap is closing or there's good motion. That's our only indication that the bolt is engaged and that our turn counts are good. How copy?
I'm ready. I'm in a good spot. I can see if it'll engage. Ready.
Are you ready for us? We got Alpha 4, clockwise 2 set.
Okay, you're going to drive the bolt 6 to 7 turns, and we'll need turns, torque, and the light.
Here we go.
So the installation of the spare sequential shunt unit now underway. Reed Wiseman using a pistol grip tool to drive this single bolt about 6 to 7 turns. He'll then report a status indicator of the SSU being in a locked position.
Okay, make sure you're pushing in on the box and on the bolt.
Still see nothing. See no movement.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, let's keep track of the turns and make sure we try to find that sweet spot where the bolt will align with the receptacle.
Okay.
Okay, let me just talk about this, Ricky. The bolt is definitely in. If I pull up on this, it's not moving. I've got 9.9 turns, but we haven't seen any closure. So you ready for me to keep going?
Stand by.
I've got WVS down the back.
Any word on the status indicator, Reed?
No movement on the indicator yet.
Okay, copy. Stand by one.
About 17 minutes left in this orbital sunset pass to complete this work. Standing by for further words now from the lead spacewalk officer, Keith Johnson. It is not unusual for bolts to be bulky in the microgravity environment given their thermal excursions between daylight and darkness. Johnson at the top right-hand portion of your screen talking to Lead Flight Director David Korth in the white shirt. They're discussing a possible slight realignment of the box in the slot. This is the spare sequential shunt unit we're talking about.
Hey, Reed, just to confirm, you cannot remove the SSU just by pulling on it right now, so something obviously is holding it in place.
That's correct. Definitely hold in place, Ricky.
Okay, we appreciate it, guys. Hey, like we would like you to do is to Alpha 4, counter 2. We just want you to take the bolt back out if you can, and we just want to make sure, get a quick inspection to make sure there's nothing getting in the way or impeding installation.
Copy that. Here we go.
Watch the other SSU, Tonto.
Yep, thanks, buddy. Ricky, it's really on there, man. I'm back. The indicator has moved back towards unlocked, but I still can't get it off. I can keep driving, but I know that bolt is out.
Okay, the bolt is out and the box won't move.
It's coming. It's out.
There goes.
The box is out.
Okay, now let's put the box back in.
How many turns did that take you, Reed?
It looked like about 4 until it started clicking.
Watch out for the other SSU on your BRT.
Yep.
Can you push it behind you a little bit? There you go.
Guys, what we'll need you to do is we're going to need one of you to inspect the bolt for galling on the back of the SSU just to make sure we haven't stripped anything, and we're also going to have to look for galling on the receptacle on the stanchion.
Go and pull it off, and I'll look.
All right, let me get rid of this BRT, or this PGT. How's it look, Butch?
It looks as if the last part of the spin on the bolt, I don't know if that's just how it is it begins, or if the very tip of it is broken off. The thread itself. Where the thread began. See anything inside where the bolt goes?
I'm looking down where the bolt goes, and that looks super good. Looks all clear.
Can y'all see this WBS or no?
We have WVS. It's kind of hard to distinguish. So you said, Butch, you think that there's a little bit of the thread broken off potentially on the bolt itself?
Yeah, at the very end of the thread.
And we assume you're comparing to that. You're based on your observations when you had it inside.
Correct. And it might just be where it's starting to engage, and it's just scuffed up. It's hard to tell. It's
Okay,
definitely
copy.
either scuffed or it's snipped.
Okay, copy.
Let's put this back down in there.
Okay. Side's in. Good.
And Ricky, just so you know, there was no running torque whatsoever on the install, so I never even felt like the bolt end had engaged, but it had.
Okay, copy that.
Let's try one more time with a really good body. Let's try one more time with a really good body position.
We like that plan.
All right, Alpha 4, clockwise 2 is set.
Stand by 1, Reed.
Okay.
Flight controllers discussing the forward plan here. Clock ticking with about 10.5 minutes of orbital sunset left for the crew to install and bolt in place this spare sequential shunt unit before they would have to tie it down and wait until the next pass into an orbital sunset, which would not occur until about 10:19 Central Time.
Okay, guys, what we need you to do is we do need you to push in on the box to get it as firmly seated as you can before you start driving. Because you have a pin to overcome.
I've done that, Ricky.
Okay, copy that. And then we're happy with Alpha 4, clockwise 2.
Ready for me to let go?
Yep, let go. Driving. It's going.
Closing. Closing. Keep going.
All right, Ricky, I'm torquing out at 6.6. The indicator's about a third of the way.
Okay, copy, but you had it closing. I
got two turns in, and it was closing.
Definitely closing.
Okay, 2 turns in, and was closing.
Affirmative.
Stand by 1.
Nice job, Tom.
Okay, guys, we would like you to get the ratchet wrench out and to try to go ahead and continue tightening it with the ratchet wrench.
Copy that.
So working against the clock.
Once you have the ratchet wrench hand, it looks like Tano has it. It looks like it's straight around the mating surface all the way around the box. It's not offset at all.
It looks orthogonal, correct. It looks straight.
Yeah, that's the view I had too. Just checking. Thank you.
Reed Wiseman now using a ratchet wrench to try to torque down the replacement sequential shunt unit.
There's one turn.
It's closing. It's closed. Good work, Tano.
Looks like 2 turns. 3 more.
You're almost to the pad.
4.
Pads are down on this side.
5.
Pad, it's on the pads on 3 sides.
Okay. Status indicator is fully in the lock position, Ricky.
Outstanding news. And Tonto, we need you to back that out just 1/4 turn with the ratchet.
Okay, back it out 1/4 with the ratchet. So you don't want it torqued all the way down, is what you're saying?
That's right, and we'll go ahead and reset it with the PGT.
Copy that. That's going to work. Running torque was high, Ricky.
Copy that.
And I feel that same ratchet. I feel that same ratcheting feel as the
Hand over.
as the old removal.
We're handing over between satellites on our tracking and data relay satellite system. Reed Wiseman, using a combination of a pistol grip tool and a ratchet wrench, reporting that the new sequential shunt unit voltage regulation box is locked in place at the base of the mast canister on the starboard truss of the International Space Station at 9:12 a.m. Central Time. 1 hour 56 minutes into today's spacewalk.
Okay, guys, back with you with no WVS. Tonto, you took the quarter turn with the ratchet, that's correct?
A-frame and the status indicator moved.
Okay, copy that. We'd like you to try to torque it down off Alpha 4 clockwise 2.
6 minutes left in orbital sunset.
Alpha 4 clockwise 2 is set. Ricky, that instantly torqued out. It didn't turn it off.
Okay, copy that.
Too high.
Are we still fully seated?
We're fully seated, but the status indicator is off the fully locked, so we definitely backed it out about, a millimeter on the status indicator.
Checking.
I'm not an engineer. I'd be happy putting the ratchet on and just giving it a nice light turn until the status indicator is fully locked. I know that's not what engineering would want, though.
We like your plan, Reed. We like your plan.
Okay, we're getting that in work.
Wiseman ensuring that we do not have any play in this sequential shunt unit, the replacement unit that has been bolted in place.
Okay, Ricky, that's complete. The status indicator is showing locked, and I didn't put anywhere near the torque in it that I had to use to get the old one out. Although I will say that ratcheting feeling is definitely there.
Okay, copy that. Those are good words. A standby 1.
Butch? Yes, sir. Thank you. Absolutely. All the way around. Thank you.
Hey, Butch, can we also verify that all pads are in contact?
All pads are in contact. I'll give you a quick WVS.
Okay, copy that. Standby 1. We're getting ready to look at the checkout.
The electrical systems officer here in Mission Control standing by for a go from Flight Director David Korth to begin checking out the new sequential shunt unit.
Top of the far side definitely looks good, so we definitely have 3 out of 4, no doubt.
The fourth one's got to be good then.